happy GA Flashback Friday, TGIF. Those 4 letters have not been a truer statement. Thank God it's Friday. This week, though, has just been crazy. Like, I knew it was going to be, with the girls going back to school and getting them all settled in with riding the bus, and then I started looking for a job, and not to mention everything else that I do on a regular basis. It's just been crazy, and I am worn out. I mean, I've slept okay this week, but good Lord. It's just, I have done so much that I'm just tired. But it's been a good week. The girls are enjoying school. Reagan got to ride the bus this morning for the first time. And we have a super awesome bus driver. So for the first couple of days, the kids I noticed were like, even the bus would come down. We have a street here like that runs this way. And then we live right on the corner, like an intersection of another street. And the bus would come down the street and stop, and then Eden would cross the, look and cross the street. And it made me nervous because people just fly through there. Even though the bus says stop, a lot of people, nobody listens to that mess. And so the bus driver seen where we live, and he's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pass you every day, like pass by the house, come up, circle around, and then come back and come and get the girls in front of the house. Thank God for that, because it just makes me so much more relaxed, because then they literally get off right at the driveway. So I am just grateful that we have a bus driver who cares, because sometimes people just, it's just a job. Like, you don't care. And then you have the bus drivers that you love, like that you're sad when you don't have them anymore. I know that I always had those bus drivers, the ones that, like gave me a high five in the mornings and wished me a good day and made sure we were safe and cared about us and, talked us through when our boyfriends broke our hearts and we were crying in the bus in the mornings, and it was just a mess. We had that kind of relationship with our bus drivers. And I want my girls to feel safe on the bus. This is big for them. They're used to me taking them to school and picking them up. So knowing that they are safe on the bus, it makes me super happy. And knowing that my bus driver is willing to take that extra time to swing around and drop them off at the house so that they don't have to cross the street and possibly get hurt just lowers my blood pressure, because I've had enough anxiety this week sending them off to school anyway. Not so much with Eden. I mean, Eden's in the 4th grade. I've been doing it for a few years, but with Reagan, she's the last kid I'm ever going to send off to kindergarten. I'm having no more children. Done. You're crazy. Like, I'm never having kids again. Like, I have 2, they're half grown, I'm done. Nope, forget it. But it's bittersweet, because now I don't send anybody else off to kindergarten, no more preschool. It's just all those little things that I kind of took for granted, I guess, the last couple of years now are gone, and now Reagan's in big girl school, and she's a big girl, and but she loves it, and that makes me so much happier. Eden is loving 4th grade. She's getting used to being able to do all the big kid stuff, like the super big kid stuff, which she loves. She's only going to be in this school a couple more years, and she's joining student council, and I'm so proud of her. She's doing really, really well. But we are not here to talk about school schedules and bus routes and student council. We are here for GA Flashback Friday, where I recap one of our past episodes of Ghost Adventures. And I am so excited. This week, though, I forgot how amazingly good this episode is. I think with all of the jumble with every episode of Ghost Adventures, you forget the good ones. Like, you remember the super good ones, and then you forget the ones that are just as good. And this week was no different. We are going back to Wolfe Manor in Clovis, California, and this place is known as the Black Hole of Clovis. People went in here and didn't come out, at least not alive. The building at one point averaged a death a day, and it's kind of out in the country a little bit, kind of out in the desert, and it took people, a while to get out there, like the morgue and the Emmy, and so people would be dead in there for days, weeks, months, whatever. It had one family that owned the home, and they actually lost the home in the Depression. After that, it became the Clovis Sanatorium, and there was thousands of deaths there. And the treatment of these people was horrific. The mansion was the only thing that still stood at the time, and there had been hospital wings, but someone had bought the place, and he tore all of that down, and the mansion was the only place that remained during the investigation. But while the place was in operation, before it closed in 1997, you heard stories of people having bed sores to the bone, people sleeping in hallways, 20 patients to one nurse, people tied to showers, people tied to toilets. It was just absolutely inhumane. It was absolutely crazy. The guy said that the average worker worked there about a month before they left because they just couldn't stand the conditions and they just couldn't stand to see how people were being treated there. This place delivered tenfold on evidence. Before lockdown even started, they got EMF spikes on 2 different EMF detectors. They got a little girl laughing as they were talking about the kids that used to live there. They talked about how during walkthrough, Clovis County Emergency, like fire and rescue, would get 911 calls from the location. The location didn't have phone service, and it hadn't had phone service at the time of the calls for like 2 to 3 years. So it was really weird that they were getting 911 calls from a location that didn't have a phone service. And it was coming from like a landline. And they would get out there, they would get 2 or 3 calls a week to come out there, and there would be, of course, nobody there. It's just a really dark location. It's got a really dark history. And the guys got to use something really cool on this lockdown for the first time, which was the UV camera that Andy Coppin had built. And they got to learn about that and learn that they were able to see for the first time everything that they felt. So like the energy that makes your hair stand up on end, that gives you goosebumps, that spectrum of light we can't see with the naked eye or even with a night vision camera. And so this camera was designed to be able to see in all spectrums of light, from UV, infrared, and just standard vision as well. And so it was really cool to be able to use that camera this first time on this lockdown. And it delivered for sure, which we will get to in just a little bit. But beginning with lockdown breakdown, like I said, lockdown kind of began with walkthrough. They got their first pieces of evidence with the EMF spikes. Then they went back to that location at the beginning of lockdown and broke out the EMF detectors again, and they got nothing. Like, they were baselining at 0.0, 0.1, very low. But there was nothing. Both, 2 different types of EMF detectors, one digital, one not, and they both were not reading anything. And it was the same exact location that earlier in the day they turned them on, and there was spike after spike after spike. So it just shows you that something earlier was there. Then they hear a woman moan, and soon after that, Aaron's digital EMF detector reads a 3.2 spike. So they hear a moan, and then they get a spike, which obviously is two forms of evidence to back up a claim of paranormal activity. And we all know that more than one is generally what it takes to say that it's paranormal. So they heard a moan with their own ears, and they captured it on their digital recorder. So there's 2. And then they got this EMF spike. So it's actually 3 pieces of equipment captured the activity. After that, all hell kind of breaks loose. The guys are feeling cold bursts of air go through them. Mind you, this place has no electricity, no sort of ventilation at all, and it's 90 degrees outside. And they're feeling, you can see the sweat on Aaron's face, and they're feeling cold bursts of energy come through them, and they hear random talking, they keep seeing flashes of light, they are just kind of losing it, and they end up getting almost summoned down to the basement. So they go down there, and they all start to feel sick and drained. They get EVPs that say get out, which of course, they all love those, because that usually means that they're pissing something or someone off. And then they go to a crawl space where a investigator had went in earlier during a prior investigation, crawled in there, and actually had like someone tug on his ankles, and he bolted out of this crawl space so fast that he almost fell and like broke his neck. And so Zach, of course, being Zach, went to the crawl space and taunted whatever was in there and told the spirit to put his hands around his neck and squeeze. Zach did feel something on his neck, and he heard a very sinister, like demonic style, like hiss come out of this crawl space. So whatever is in that crawl space is not happy and is not okay with you being up in his cookie jar. Like, he does not want you there at all. He was not happy that Zach was taunting him, which I have never met a spirit that was happy when Zach Bagans taunts them, but hey, they respond, so Zach gets what he wants. The spirits don't understand that. It's like, if you scream and yell at me, you know, then I did my job. I screamed and yelled at you. You screamed and yelled back. Good job. Thank you. They don't understand that. They just know that they're pissed off and they're angry because somebody is messing with them in their personal space. And so that kind of shook the guys up a little bit. You know, they were feeling really weird. So they decide to go into another room and use the UV camera because they're getting so much activity. They want to be able to see what they're capturing. And so they go into another room, they break out the UV camera, and this thing, like I said earlier, delivered. It was insane. I remember watching it the first time and just being in awe. So the room looks like, on the camera, it looks like it's just lit up. Like it's like there's a light on, but it's actually pitch black. But it's just that the camera is picking up all spectrums of light. So you can see, it almost looks like this room does now. But when it picks up a UV light, something in the UV spectrum, it's actually like a purple or a bluish tone. And Zach is talking to the spirits, and he's like, was that you? Can you come back in here? And you see this thing form, this little blue, like, blob kind of form, this bluish purple thing. And then you watch it kind of walk out of the room, and then it comes back, almost like it's walking in between the doorways. And then they lay a digital recorder on the floor, and this thing, whatever it is, lays on the floor. They get a Class A EVP that says stay. Then whatever this thing is gets up, walks out, goes away. So they send Aaron over to sit on the couch that's kind of by the doorway. And when they do, it kind of scurries away, like it goes away. So it's scared of Aaron. And when no sooner Aaron gets up, moves away, it comes back. Like it's responding intelligently to Zach. So Zach goes over there and tries to get it, but nothing ever comes back. So whatever it was kind of scared of Zach and them, but was, you know, curious and was responding intelligently to their request. You know, can you come back in here, please? And it would come back and kind of form and lay on the floor. And then, you know, it would kind of scurry away. And then, well, it's okay. You know, don't be afraid. Please come back. And it would come back. And it was just absolutely insane to watch because it's an intelligent response. And that means that typically they're using, you know, they're in contact with an intelligent spirit, not something residual or anything like that. They're capturing it on camera. They're able to see it. And it was just such a breakthrough for the paranormal community to be able to have a camera that could pick up on what we only felt before. So those emotions and those feelings of the cold chills in the back of your neck and the, you know, the hair standing up on end and the goosebumps, all of that is, you know, our response to an electromagnetic energy that we could not see with our own eyes or even with night vision. And to be able to see it for the first time on a camera and capture it is absolutely incredible. And it only shows that the paranormal world makes strides every day, and they are able to build things to capture what we only have been able to see and hear before. And so it just shows you that they're gonna continue to do great things, and I think that one day it's gonna be a very respected science. I fully believe that because I think that we are making so many breakthroughs each and every day. There are things that are happening that people can't explain, and they don't try to look for the typical, oh, it was this, the wind, you know. They're actually saying, well, I don't understand how that happened. And it's making skeptics into believers every day. I mean, the man who owned Wolfe Manor was not a believer at all prior to owning the mansion, and now that he owned it, he was a complete believer. So overall, Wolfe Manor is a fantastic episode, and if I believe correctly, I believe Wolfe Manor is no longer standing. I believe that they tore it down. I could be wrong, but I think I read somewhere that they were tearing it down, or they wanted to tear it down, which I'm sure made the people of Clovis very happy because they did not want this place to be associated with their town because of its dark energy. Like I said, it was known as the Black Hole of Clovis, and for good reason. But that is all I have for GA Flashback Friday. I will be back on Monday for GA Recap Monday, where we are going to be recapping the very first episode of Ghost Adventures Season 11, Edinburgh Manor. I am super, super excited. I can't wait to bring that recap for you guys. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy, have a great, fantastic, amazing weekend. I will see you guys Monday. Much love and happiness.